Okay, Sony, what the fuck was that state of play? That was actually really good. And I'm so happy to be saying that, because while I really love my PS5, it's my main device that I use to play games. On my channel, I've basically only made negative videos on PlayStation, and while this state of play wasn't a 10 out of 10, and while PlayStation still has some issues with showcases, which I will address later on in the video, this state of play was just really good, and it also gave us a better idea of where PlayStation is at right now. I might be a little late with this video since I had a busy weekend, but I really wanted to talk about this nonetheless. So let's take a look at his newest showcase. And this state of play had been rumored for a while now, like ever since that lackluster and honestly pretty shit PlayStation showcase in June. People have been asking for another showcase or just another showing of what PlayStation has in store for us. Which is understandable, because for a console that's pretty far into its life cycle, the PS5 does not have that many games. So when the state of play got announced and it wasn't a showcase or it wasn't a first party focused state of play, instead being an indie and third party focused one, I and many other people were pretty disappointed at first. Of course, I was still going to watch it and I had some games that I was expecting to see, but since PlayStation has been so disappointing lately, I didn't want to get my hopes up too much. Like, right before the show I tweeted out my expectations, follow me on Twitter by the way. I was 100% expecting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, since they tweeted something about it's a good time to pre-order Final Fantasy VII right now, only to delete it an hour later. I also expected Stellar Blade, since PlayStation updates the store page of it, and I was really hoping for Death Stranding 2, since it's Kojima Studios, so technically not first party, but it is a really big PlayStation exclusive game that we haven't seen much of. I didn't have any crazy hopes for new surprise reveals or anything like that. As I said, I wanted to keep my expectations on the lower side. But now, knowing what we got, my expectations were definitely completely off. But I don't mind it at all, since we still got a great showing. I'm still really happy with what we got, and that's how I feel that, you know, a PlayStation showcase or just a showcase in general was a good one. That even if you didn't get what you wanted out of it, you still leave happy. Of course, the state of play wasn't all bangers, like, what the fuck was that opening game? I went into this with low expectations, and as soon as I saw this, I felt like this entire state of play was just gonna be a waste of time, and that feeling only grew as the trailer continued, but thankfully after that it did get a bit better. First we had some PlayStation VR titles, which I'm fine with. I'm personally not into the whole VR scene, but PlayStation has VR hardware, so I get that it's important to market it, but then we got hit by the first thing that got me hyped. An update for one of the best games of this year, a separate Ways DLC for the Resident Evil 4 remake. And I absolutely adore Resident Evil 4. I even kept it installed on my PS5 because I was hoping for Separate Ways, but I wasn't expecting it to be here at all. So I also definitely was not expecting it to be releasing this soon with a September 21st release date. So yeah, that was a fantastic surprise announcement. I cannot wait to revisit one of my favorite games of this year. And then next up we got some other smaller updates on games that I personally don't really care about, being Ghost Runners 2, Helldivers 2, and I guess the Avatar game from Ubisoft. But again, I don't really care. I liked Ghost Runner 1, but not enough to check out the sequel. Helldivers isn't my type of game, and Ubisoft can only really make massive, bloated, mind-numbing open-world games, and Avatar just looks like another one of those. But for the people who like that sort of stuff, it's really nice that that was here, so even if I wasn't into it personally, we got some good updates. But then we got something else that I wasn't expecting to be here at all. Spider-Man 2, the game from the first-party studio Insomniac, was present in a third-party focused state of play, which was very weird, especially from a communication or from a hype managing standpoint. because it happens really often that PlayStation comes out and says, this is a third-party focused state of play. People, for some reason, will still expect first-party stuff, people will be disappointed, but then next time, people will adjust their expectations. So next time that they announce a third-party state of play, they will not expect first-party stuff, but then in this third-party state of play, they showed first-party stuff anyway. It was a bit weird. Maybe they could have said focused on third-party with a Spider-Man update or something like that, just to keep things consistent, especially thinking about future state of plays. I have no idea what to expect now, because apparently everything can show up in a third-party state of play, but that's a little bit of a sidetrack. I don't want to complain too much, because Spider-Man 2 is one of my most anticipated games, especially since it's so close to release. The hype is really getting to me, and the game looks fucking incredible. This trailer as well did a great job at showing it off. The world looks fantastic, especially with how much bigger the map is. That really surprised me, and how that is combined with the instant switching between characters and the seamless quick travel. It all looks really, really good, and I'm super excited. I guess if I have to say something critical, my only worry right now is that the web gliders look a little bit overpowered, but we'll see. The map is a lot bigger, so it's understandable that they want to add a faster way of traveling. But then, after Spider-Man, we got another massive surprise, something that I never saw coming. When this trailer started playing, I was actually in disbelief. Tales of Arise gets a DLC called Beyond the Dawn. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I absolutely love Tales of Arise. I made an hour-long review on it, completely spoiler-free, so if you're not sure about Tales of Arise, you can go watch it. But Tales of Arise is literally one of my favorite games of all time, and I never expected that we'd see more from this world, or at least in game form. Because yeah, there was that domain listing a while ago, but the game came out 2 years ago. I was not expecting that listing to be anything game related, let alone a 20-hour expansion that's gonna be releasing in November. So yeah, that was another massive surprise that came out of nowhere. I was in tears during the entirety of the trailer. I was fucking screaming, I will play this day one. I'm so excited for this. And then next up we got Honkai Star Rail for PlayStation 5 with a release date, which is cool. I personally don't really like Star Rail. It's a bit weird. I was excited to play Star Rail before release because I really like Genshin, I really like turn-based games. I thought that this would be perfect for me, but I tried getting into it multiple times. I played a lot of the game, but there are so many things that I just don't like about it. So many elements that I just don't vibe with. So I guess that it's just not for me, but I know that a lot of people have been very excited for a console release of this game, so that was probably a very great announcement for them. We also got another look at Foam Star Switch. Looks okay, it's basically just PlayStation going, we have Splatoon at home, but it doesn't look bad. But then, of course, we ended up with the biggest thing, the thing that everyone was expecting as well, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And this gave us a fantastic trailer, like genuinely one of the most hyped trailers that I've ever seen for a game. We got a better look at the open world, how it recreates certain areas and certain scenes from the original. We saw more of Zack and the new story elements as well. We saw the flashback sequence with Sephiroth, we got Kate Sith, we got fucking Vincent. Genuinely a fantastic trailer. Final Fantasy VII is also one of my favorite games of all time, and since I only played the original after playing Remake, it was awesome to see all of these familiar things in this trailer, but to also see some new stuff, and I have so many theories already about what the fuck is going on in this game. And the trailer also ended with a release date of February the 29th, making February officially one of the best months in gaming, period. But now that I talked about everything that was at the State of Play, the release date announcement does bring me to what I want to talk about next, namely what the State of Play can tell us about where PlayStation is currently at. Because as I said in the expectations part of the video, me and a lot of other people were definitely expecting a first-party State of Play to show us more of the second phase of the PS5 generation, as people have been calling it. And even if this State of Play was really good in my opinion, that is not what we got at all. so we still have a lot of questions for the future of this generation, especially first-party exclusive-wise. PlayStation has definitely been leaving us in the dark a little bit, and I'm not really a fan of that. I don't think anyone is a fan of it, because even if this state of play was good, because again, I thought this was a very good showing, it did still give me the feeling of this state of play being there to fill the gap between the first phase of the generation and the next. Like, if we look at my highlights of the show, we have Spider-Man, which is releasing in October, but of course we already knew that. And then we have the new stuff like Separate Ways, Tales of Rise, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and all of that stuff, which is slated for late this year or very early next year. We still don't know anything about the future of this generation, even if we're talking pretty short term with only 2024. But I feel like at the next showing, whatever or whenever it is, be it a state of play or a showcase, we need to see some first party stuff. And I'm talking single player. Of course, in their last showcase, we got a glimpse at a lot of their multiplayer projects, but we really need to see what Naughty Dog, Sucker Punch, Santa Monica, Bend Studio, Bluepoint Gorilla, or even maybe Insomniac is working on with Wolverine, or I guess I can even count Death Stranding too. Maybe we don't need to see all of them at once, but definitely some. I mean, if they want to show all of them at once and have like the best game showcase thing ever, then they can go ahead. But managing expectations is also important. But even then, I do think that we will see at least some of those. Because I genuinely think that the next PlayStation showcase will get to see not only some of those games, but also the PS5 Pro. It's been rumored, we basically know for sure that it's coming, and I'm guessing that they either aren't ready to show the PlayStation 5 Pro yet, which is why they don't want to announce those new first-party titles yet, because of course they're gonna want to announce those first-party titles next to their new console, because of course the games is what's gonna sell the console, or even if it's not connected to the PS5 Pro, maybe they're just not ready yet to show those big first-party titles, and that's why we got this smaller state of play to just show that there are still some banger games coming, and they just need some more time to work on their big heavy-hitter first-party titles. But then again, of course, PlayStation has been very unpredictable lately. They're also getting pretty complacent and cocky, and they aren't really communicating as they used to, which is really sad to see, but they do have those studios, they are working on games. It's just a matter of when they're gonna show them, and I think that whenever they reveal the PS5 Pro, which is hopefully at their next event or showcase, those games will be there. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But again, I did really love the state of play, especially keeping in mind that it was only 25 minutes long. We got a lot of good stuff. So it's definitely a major upgrade compared to the previous two PlayStation shows that I talked about. Especially if what I'm thinking is true and that this is more of a filling the gap sort of showcase. But with that, I am gonna leave it here. I am curious to hear from all of you though, what did you think of this state of play? I know that a lot of people are still kind of sad or annoyed that we don't know what's happening with the first party titles, so I'm very curious to see what everyone is thinking here on the YouTube side of things. What was your favorite reveal, all of that stuff? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like or subscribe to my channel if you like my content. I really appreciate all the support. Also be sure to follow me on Twitter. I live tweet events like these. It's pretty fun, just hyping up the games and stuff. But with that, I'm gonna end my video here. I hope you all had a good time watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.